All right, staying with politics, the ANC has concluded its three-day NEC meeting. It attempted to resolve the continuous infighting, factionalism and divisions within the ruling party. The Phala Phala farm saga topped the agenda, with President Cyril Ramaphosa being asked to step down. His spokesperson, as you heard earlier, said he'll do so if charged. There's been numerous concerns whether the ANC is still united, with the party's elective conference just around the corner. To unpack this with us, we are joined by political analyst and policy specialist, Dr. TK Pooe. Thank you very much, TK, for your time here on All Angles. Just first of all, listening to the presidential spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, saying the president will gladly step down if criminally charged. Are we talking about a man, or are we seeing a man who's confident in his innocence, or a man that is playing at the, narration that because presidents or rather appoint their own judges, etc., he's going to get away with it anyway?
Well, just a quick one before answering that. I actually think it was a bit problematic having the spokesperson of the presidency of the Republic of South Africa have to answer an ANC-related question, because remember, the step aside is not. It's not a South African Republic issue. It's an ANC Republic. So I guess it kind of shows you the blurring of the lines, which is quite problematic. So I think that was it. But look, if we have to believe what he says, I guess it does show confidence. But then again, look, President Ramaphosa has not lacked confidence in this. What he's lacked is the ability to explain what actually happened. And I think for me, that's where the real story is. Where they look, every person, whether they're guilty or not, is told to put on a brave face and do something else. So this is what was to be expected. The bigger issue is, how is it that, look, it's been 2 or 3 or 4 months down the line, and he has still not communicated to the rest of the Republic what the heck happened on his farm.
And the fact that, the Integrity Committee or Integrity Commission decided that it would not table its report onto this because of that leak. What does that say, especially looking at the fact that the Integrity Committee at the end of the day is the ANC investigating the ANC?
Well, look, it says what I've always said about the ANC, which is the ANC is not a modern political party. The ANC is still stuck in the 90s, where it simply believes by virtue of its name that it's got a cachet with the rest of the, the South African Republic. That might be true because they've won elections. However, if you have to judge the ANC as a modern political party, which is able to quickly put policies together, put actions together, and show that, listen, as a machine, is able to give out reports like this, because this really should not have. Even if it was leaked, there should have at least been a separate meeting on the side to explain, okay, this is how you contextualize the leak. This is the bigger issue. So for me, this really just shows you where the ANC is. It's not a modern political party. It really is. It's almost like if it's possible, the ANC is failing backwards at a rapid rate, and this is what you're seeing.
And I mean, I don't know, when you talk about this shows us where the ANC is and the fact that it's an old political party, right? I know that the Phala Phala farm and the theft there was an important and a very contentious point to bring to the NEC meeting. But what do you make of the fact that it seems as though it dominated that three-day NEC meeting? And, there are other issues that the ANC is facing that affects particularly the people of South Africa. And I just wonder what you think about the fact that only this particular topic on the agenda dominated for most part of the meeting.
Look, I think that's quite an astute observation, and it's almost, as I always say, Phala Phala is actually probably more symptomatic of what the ANC is, which is to say, instead of bringing economic policies to the table to give account for what's happened in the last 5 years, to say, listen, how is it that over the last 5 years we've not been able to grow the economy, we've not been able to address economic, unemployment, especially among the youth, we've not been able to really, improve the lives of rural and township South Africans, and we're not even able to actually address the issues of the border. And this again just speaks to the fact that the ANC is almost, they love navel gazing, which is to say what's happening within our stomach, so to speak. And this has actually become quite part and parcel of the ANC. The two key things that always come up from the current president of the ANC in South Africa, the two words, and you heard it in the speech yesterday, is "I am surprised" and "we're working on it." And this has always been his mantra for the last 5 years. And if you also go back to the last president, he also said, listen, I don't know what was happening in my homestead. All I saw was that there were buildings happening. This one says, I don't know what was happening. I hear there were businesses. So this is part and parcel of the sickness of the ANC, which is those people that are supposed to probably be held to the highest account never know what is happening. And then are we surprised that we actually don't see development in South Africa because the people who are in charge, and this is not a this is not having a go at President Cyril Ramaphosa only, it's having a go at the last ANC president, that they seem to be more preoccupied with themselves and the party as opposed to us and the Republic. And maybe it's time South Africans also catch a wake-up call to this is a reality of how the ANC operates, that we come number 2, or even we come number 3, and they come first, second, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting when you say that we come number 2, etc., because we remember what the former president said in Parliament, saying the ANC comes first, but also the fact that, like the point that you made earlier on, that Vincent Magwenya, who is a spokesperson on a presidential level, on a government level, was made to answer questions about the ANC as a political party. But let's talk about the Commission's rules, right? The Electoral Commission's rules within the ANC. It stipulates that those who have been found wanting by the Integrity Committee should not be standing for leadership positions. And we know that there's a report that's come out now against the former Health Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, when it comes to the digital vibes issue. But here we are with big provincial executives, or the province of KZN, for instance, which is the biggest in the ANC, making it clear to the whole country that for them, this is the man who should take up that position of president.
Well, look, I go a step further back, and I've always said that the issue is not the step aside. The issue is that the ANC is not following its own constitution. I can't remember exactly which chapter it was, but there's a chapter which actually speaks to the issue of when you, as an individual, being disrepute to the political party has the right to suspend you, and so forth and so on. The ANC did not need the step aside rule. What the ANC needed, and this speaks directly to a thing, is the ANC needed to respect itself and respect its own constitution to say, if you're an individual, whether you are the president in this situation or whether you are the former minister of health, you are really not bringing any glory to the political party. Therefore, the best thing for you to do is either to be suspended or not even to elect. But again, the ANC failed to deal with the actual problem at hand, which is to respect its own constitution, and came up with what's now termed the very convoluted issue of step aside. So again, it just really shows you that when it comes to the heart of it, this party cannot even follow its own constitution and its own laws. So yes, it is going to be a problem, but again, it's only a problem if you care, because it would seem as though if you're in the ANC, you're blind to your own constitution, you're blind to even the issue of the step aside. So it only really matters to people like you and me and the rest of the Republic, because within the ANC, it doesn't seem that, there's really nothing that can stop you from contesting, even if you have, one might say, not even legal, let's just say more, ethically, this looks very wrong. And I always say this to colleagues, that there is a problem when the Conservative Party in Britain can ask Boris Johnson to step aside, because that's what he basically did. Not because he committed a crime, but because he said, listen, you actually brought the party to disrepute by hiring somebody who was acknowledged as, I think, as probably being a molester of sorts. And if I'm wrong, I do apologize for that.
Sexual harassment.
And here is a party which says, and here's a party that says, look, we stand on revolutionary morality. But you simply cannot ask a president or even a minister to say, listen, guys, you guys have issues which have legal implications. Please take the time out to go sort that out. And in the interim, let the party move forward. And maybe it speaks to the bigger issue that the ANC, because it's really not inculcated itself as being a party for modernity, it hasn't made space for the necessary leaders. And I just want to make this quibble. The ANC does have leaders. It's just that the ANC structures don't recognize those leaders. They're not allowed to go up the pole, and I think that's really the key problem. And this is why we find that the ANC is in the mess that it is in.
Yeah, for a lot of South Africans, what it looks like is that you only climb up the ladder if you can do something for the other person. But let's talk about what you just said right now. So how do South Africans even believe in an integrity committee that clearly it doesn't have any teeth?
And I think that is probably the problem with the Integrity Commission. And look, I think the people they have sort of put there, they actually can be said to be quite respected individuals within the ANC. I think that the only issue, and it goes back to the Constitution, is, and I think you've put your finger on it, which is say it was not empowered. It's an advisory, which is to say we advise that this doesn't look good for the political party, but beyond us giving you advice, there's nothing more that we can do. And I think, again, it goes back to the issue that had the ANC fully thought this through, this was supposed to be a constitutional amending input to say, listen, if it is found that, we're going to use this instrument called a step aside, or more, I think better, we're actually going to use the ANC constitution, this is going to be the constitutional implications. And because the ANC did not do that, and we should not be surprised, the ANC has not been great at foresight. They like quick fixes, which sometimes always unravel as time goes on. This is a result of it.